We all stopped to watch an incredible human drama in a Cleveland courtroom. A tiny woman, a survivor, summoning the towering strength to stare down the man who had abused her for 11 years. And when she finished, in a bizarre turn, the kidnapper blamed his victims and then insisted he was not a monster, he was somehow misunderstood. ABC's Alex Perez takes us through the stunning showdown.
She was his first victim, enduring 11 long years of abuse and torture. But today, Michelle Knight stood tall, hugged those around her, and faced down the man who held her captive.
Days turns into nights. Nights turns into days. Years turn into eternity. I knew nobody cared about me. He told me that my family didn't care.
Knight was 21 years old when Castro lured her in with promises of a puppy for her son. Amanda Berry, 16 when she was abducted. Today, she's 27. Gina De Jesus, just 14 when the ordeal began, now 23.
Gina was my teammate. She never let me fall. I never let her fall. She nursed me back to health when I was dying from his abuse.
Michelle was the only victim who came to court today. She's 32 years old, but so small, her rescuers thought she was a child. Today, she was a tiny tower of strength. As she spoke, Ariel Castro's eyes never left her, but this is the moment he registered emotion.
I spent 11 years in hell. Now your hell is just beginning. I will overcome all this that happened, but you will face hell for eternity.
Today, a new glimpse into what those women endured, the rusty chains Castro used to restrain them, often for weeks at a time with little food. We learned they all kept diaries documenting their ordeal, fearing they would never make it out alive. In a bizarre, rambling 16-minute statement, Castro implied he was the real victim, insisting that he never abused any of the women.
I am not violent predator that you're trying to make me look a monster. I'm not a monster. I'm a normal person. I am just sick.
Castro became emotional talking about his daughter with Amanda Berry. But the judge was unmoved. Castro will never be allowed to see Jocelyn again. He was sentenced to life in prison plus 1,000 years. Now his victims are moving forward. Gina's cousin telling the court of everyday milestones.
She laughs, she swims, she dances, and more importantly, she loves, and she's loved.
For Michelle Knight, standing up there today, a giant step forward.
After 11 years, I am finally being heard, and it's liberating. Thank you all. I love you. God bless you.
And even though Michelle did shed tears inside that courtroom, her strength never wavered. She says all of the support she has gotten since she was freed has taught her there is still more good than evil. Diane?
It was a stunning day, and thank you, Alex. And the judge, as you know, said that Michelle Knight showed remarkable restraint when she listened to Ariel Castro's long ramble about his own unhappiness. We asked Nightline anchor Cynthia McFadden to ask the experts to take us inside the mind of a deluded abuser.
Ariel Castro took full advantage of his right to speak today. For 16 minutes, he alternated between self-pity and apology, defiance and lack of remorse. Through it all, stunning delusion.
Most of the sex that went on in the house, and probably all of it, was consensual.
Perhaps Mr. Castro cannot bear to see himself the way the rest of us do, saying repeatedly he is not violent, not a monster. He called himself a victim, saying as a child he'd been sexually assaulted and is now addicted to porn. The judge made short order of that.
You've been a victimizer.
But surely Mr. Castro is right about one thing. He is a sick man.
Is Ariel Castro a sick man or just an evil one?
Well, I think he himself seems confused about that, and I think society is as well. He has some sort of a sexual disorder. He certainly describes the fact that he feels driven by a force that he doesn't fully understand.
But if he's so sick, how did he go undetected all those years?
I think what all of us are concerned about is he's a very good liar.
But being mentally ill does not mean he is not legally responsible. Legal insanity is a very high bar, used in only 1% of cases, and experts say not applicable here. A relative of Gina De Jesus also spoke today.
to Ariel Castro, que Dios se apiade de su alma.
Looking Ariel Castro straight in the eye, may God have mercy on your soul. Cynthia McFadden, ABC News, New York.
With thanks to Cynthia, I want to bring in ABC's chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. So, Dan, he pled guilty, but he proceeded to try to deny a lot of what he pled to and claimed to have been misunderstood. Does the judge have to let him do this?
The judge has to let him speak. The judge has to give him an opportunity to say anything that could lead to a more lenient sentence. The last thing they want is an issue on appeal later on. The judge might have been able to step in a little earlier, but the bottom line is this guy has a very distorted view of the world. Everything he said seemed to be intended to engender sympathy from the court and the people watching, and yet everything he said seemed to backfire. Everything seemed to make it worse for him.
And when he goes to prison now for life, is he a target of other prisoners?
Oh, absolutely. First thing that's going to happen is he's going to be held in solitary confinement. Everyone in Ohio who's a male sex offender goes to a particular institution there, evaluated as to how violent an offender they are. That determines which prison they go to. But no question, he's going to have to be held in solitary confinement, not as a punishment, but to protect him from other prisoners.
And this is the rest of his life, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Dan Abrams, again, our thanks to you.